Princess Alexandra, Helen Elizabeth Olga Christabel of Kent, was born on Christmas Day 1936 in London, the second child and only daughter of Prince George, Duke of Kent, and Princess Marina of Greece and Denmark. As a grandchild of King George V, she was a first cousin of the future Queen Elizabeth II. At the time of her birth, Alexandra was sixth in line to the throne. Her early years were marked by privilege, but also by wartime upheaval. When World War II broke out, the Kent family moved to their country home at Coppins in Buckinghamshire, and Alexandra spent much of her childhood later under the care of her grandmother Queen Mary at Badminton House. Tragedy struck early in the young princess's life. In August 1942, her father, a serving RAF officer, died in a plane crash in Scotland. Official accounts note that the Duke of Kent was killed in a wartime flying accident in 1942 when Princess Alexandra was just 5 years old. The crash at Dunbeath killed 14 of the 15 on board. Alexandra's only brother Edward became the new Duke of Kent, and a baby brother, Michael, was born in July 1942, shortly before their father's death. Alexandra, still a child, thus grew up without her father. The loss of her father left a deep mark on Alexandra's family. Her mother, Princess Marina, continued with royal duties, but was a young widow with 3 small children. Princess Marina's own life would be cut tragically short in 1968, but during Alexandra's wartime childhood, she strove to maintain a sense of stability. Despite the hardships of the era, Alexandra was remembered as a cheerful child. As a princess of 6, she had to observe many wartime restrictions, but her family life at Coppins and later at Badminton remained spirited under Queen Mary's kindly guardianship. These early experiences, growing up in the shadow of war under the care of 2 strong grandmother figures, instilled in Princess Alexandra a sense of resilience and duty that would shape her adult character. After the war, Princess Alexandra's family returned to normal life in London. In a break from tradition, Alexandra became the first British princess to attend an ordinary boarding school. In 1947, at age 11, she enrolled at Heathfield School near Ascot. During her first term at Heathfield, she even served as a bridesmaid at the wedding of her cousin, Princess Elizabeth, the future Queen Elizabeth II, and Philip Mountbatten in November 1947. This was a remarkable honour for the young princess, highlighting her close place in the royal circle. Alexandra was later sent to a finishing school in Paris, where she studied French and music. These years of education gave her a broader outlook than previous generations of princesses. She learned to speak fluent French and developed a confidence that would serve her in public life. Princess Alexandra's youthful interests included the arts and helping others. In 1957, she undertook training as a nurse at London's Great Ormond Street Hospital. Though she ultimately chose not to pursue nursing as a career, the experience reflected her lifelong concern for healthcare and charity. Even as a teenager and young adult, she showed a dedication to service. By the late 1950s, Alexandra was emerging onto the world stage. In 1959, at age 22, she carried out her first solo overseas tour for the Commonwealth, travelling to Australia. Her visit to Queensland was met with great enthusiasm, so much so that a local composer wrote a waltz in her honour, and a hospital was later renamed Princess Alexandra Hospital. These early tours tested and prepared her for the royal duties she would take on in the coming decades. Meanwhile, her warm personality and elegant style, traits noticed even by the press, began to make her a popular figure. The combination of her royal birth and her down-to-earth manner helped Alexandra connect with people. As one biographer observes, she soon became one of the most popular members of the royal family. In 1962, Princess Alexandra's personal life took a defining turn. On 19 November 1962, Her engagement to the Honourer Angus, James Bruce Ogilvy, was announced. Angus Ogilvy was the second son of the 12th Earl of Airlie, a businessman whose family had long ties to the royal household. Alexandra and Angus had known each other socially, and their engagement was widely celebrated. The couple were married on the 24th of April 1963 at Westminster Abbey in London. The wedding was a grand royal occasion, attended by the Queen, the Duke of Edinburgh, Princess Margaret and other royals, and even 14-year-old Princess Anne as chief bridesmaid. The ceremony was broadcast on television to an estimated 200 million people worldwide. This wedding combined regal splendour with personal warmth. As The Guardian later noted, Sir Angus was known for his honourable intentions and devotion to Alexandra, and the marriage was regarded fondly by the public. Following their marriage, Princess Alexandra became officially known as Her Royal Highness the Honourable Lady Ogilvy. Notably, Sir Angus declined the Queen's offer to make him an earl upon marrying a princess. The couple chose a relatively private family life. They lived at Thatched House Lodge in Richmond, Surrey, rather than in one of the palaces, and their 2 children would carry no royal titles. Princess Alexandra gave birth to her only son, James, on 29th of February 1964, and her only daughter, Marina, on 31st July 1966. Both children were raised out of the public spotlight, reflecting their parents' desire for normalcy. Sir Angus was later knighted in 1988, making Alexandra the Honour Lady Ogilvy, and he served as a devoted husband and supporter. The 1960s were otherwise happy years for Alexandra. She balanced family life with royal service, attending events and supporting causes. However, the decade also saw personal sorrow. In August 1968, Princess Marina, Alexandra's mother, died at age 61 of an inoperable brain tumour. Marina had been a beloved duchess, and Alexandra was at Kensington Palace with her 2 brothers when their mother passed away in her sleep. Alexandra was just 31 at the time, and now a mother herself. This loss brought home the fragility of life that she had experienced in childhood. It is said that Princess Marina's charm and sense of duty deeply inspired her children, and her death left Alexandra with the responsibility of upholding her mother's memory in the family. Throughout this period, Alexandra continued to carry out her royal duties, visiting hospitals, opening buildings, and supporting charities, while building a stable home life. In the 1970s, Princess Alexandra fully embraced her role as a working royal. Alongside her husband, she undertook many official tours and engagements. For example, she and Sir Angus frequently represented the Queen on overseas visits and at state functions. In 1971 to 1972, Alexandra accompanied her aunt, the Queen Mother, on goodwill tours to countries like Ghana and the Bahamas, and in 1973 to 1974 she undertook a solo tour of the Caribbean. Back home, she was a regular presence at events such as Trooping the Colour, state banquets and garden parties, often standing in for the Queen when needed. Historians note that throughout Queen Elizabeth's reign, the princess often represented her at events both in the UK and around the world. Her diary of royal duties grew to some 100 to 120 engagements per year, making her one of the busiest royals of that era. Even as she took on these responsibilities, she remained graceful and approachable, earning praise in the press as a figure of warmth and duty. Princess Alexandra's philanthropic work expanded during these years. She became patron or president of more than 100 charities and organisations, particularly in health and social welfare. Her early nursing training was reflected in her commitment to healthcare causes. She served as patron of the Cystic Fibrosis Trust, the Alzheimer's Society, hospices, and other medical charities. From the late 1970s onward, She was joint president with the Duke of Gloucester of Cancer Research UK and deputy president of the British Red Cross. She also championed the blind, serving decades as patron of guide dogs for the blind and of Action for Blind People. Beyond health, Princess Alexandra had a deep love of the arts. She regularly attended operas and concerts and became patron of organisations such as the English National Opera and the London Philharmonic Choir. Throughout the 1970s, Alexandra's sense of duty was widely noted. A royal biographical note summarises, Princess Alexandra is patron or president of over 100 organisations, reflecting her wide-ranging interests from the arts to healthcare. She also supported Queen Elizabeth II in her duties, attending ceremonial occasions alongside other members of the royal family. In public, she was often seen wearing crisply tailored outfits and distinctive hats, and she projected a sense of confidence. Meanwhile, her husband Angus, though successful in business, became embroiled in the so-called Lonhro scandal of 1973. In that controversy, he was criticised for his role as a director in a company that broke sanctions against Rhodesia. Though he felt this was unfair, he resigned most of his corporate posts in 1974 to protect his reputation. Princess Alexandra supported him through this ordeal, and he later devoted himself to charity work and to her official duties. The hard lessons of that episode reinforced Alexandra's sense of responsibility. She continued her engagements without drawing much attention to the controversy, thereby embodying the resilience she had learned in childhood. As the 1980s and 1990s progressed, Princess Alexandra's public life remained busy, but her private life saw new challenges. In 1988, Sir Angus Ogilvy was knighted, and Alexandra formally became Lady Ogilvy. The couple continued joint appearances, and in 1994, the Queen granted Alexandra the rare honour of becoming a Lady of the Garter. Yet family matters occasionally made headlines. In late 1989, Alexandra's daughter Marina, then 23, announced she was pregnant out of wedlock. This personal crisis became a public controversy. Marina's fiancé was reluctant to marry, and a tabloid reported that Alexandra and Angus threatened to cut off the young couple's finances unless she wed. Alexandra and Angus firmly denied any withholding of funds and maintained that Marina was always welcome at home. Eventually, Marina did marry in 1990, but the rift took months to heal and was a source of deep stress. Despite this, Alexandra continued her royal duties with composure. In 1990, she accompanied the Queen on a state visit to Portugal, and in later years, she travelled around the world for charity events. Her personal steadiness meant that even after the birth of her grandchildren, via James and Marina's families, Alexandra remained focused on her role. For example, in 1996, she became joint president of the Princess Alice Hospice and a patron of Alzheimer's Society, reflecting her compassion and sense of continuity. She is often described as having a caring, sympathetic personality, attributes no doubt informed by the adversity she had faced in life. Sir Angus's health declined in the early 2000s. He died on the 26th of December 2004 at the age of 76 after a long illness. Alexandra was 68 at his death and had been married to him for over 40 years. The loss was a quiet one. The couple's private funeral was held at Windsor, and the public scarcely saw Alexandra mourn. The Guardian obituary of Sir Angus highlighted how, in the following years, Ogilvy, Sir Angus devoted much of his time and energy to good causes, and was notable for his support of his wife Princess Alexandra, one of the most popular members of the royal family, in her official duties. In other words, the partnership had been a true one, and Alexandra now continued her life as a dedicated widow. In the 1990s and early 2000s, Alexandra had also faced her own health challenges. In 2013, she was diagnosed with polymyalgia rheumatica, an inflammatory condition, and had to cancel many public engagements. Yet, she gradually recovered and returned to active duty. Throughout these decades, Alexandra's personal style, elegant suits, signature hats, and pearls remained the same. Newspapers occasionally noted that she still carried herself with poise and grace, even as her hair turned silver. By this time, she had become one of the few senior royals not of the Queen's immediate family, but she was respected as a symbol of continuity with the older generation. As Debretz notes, she remained a working member of the royal family with her office at Buckingham Palace, and she continued to lend support at ceremonies and charities. In the 21st century, Princess Alexandra's public service has steadily continued, even as she entered her 80s. She is one of the longest-serving working royals in history. In 2016, Queen Elizabeth II herself hosted a celebration at Buckingham Palace for Alexandra's 80th birthday and her many patronages, a rare honour showing the high regard in which she is held. Alexandra accepted her elder stateswoman role with characteristic modesty, remarking in interviews that she felt as useful as ever. Even after the passing of Queen Elizabeth II in 2022, Alexandra remained an active figure in royal life. She attended all major ceremonies of mourning, the 10-day period after the Queen's death and the state funeral at Westminster Abbey. She often appeared with younger members of the family. For example, she was photographed standing quietly behind Catherine, Princess of Wales, at the 2017 Remembrance Sunday service. In May 2023, Princess Alexandra again marked history by attending the coronation of King Charles III, making her one of the only living royals to have been present at both Queen Elizabeth's coronation in 1953 and King Charles's in 2023. The image above shows her at the 2017 Remembrance Day service with Catherine Middleton, symbolising Alexandra's bridging of generations. Even in her late 80s, Princess Alexandra continues to serve the crown. She regularly attends garden parties, charity dinners, and commemorations, often supporting King Charles III and Queen Camilla at ceremonial events. Historian Annie Goldsmith observes, throughout Queen Elizabeth's reign, the princess often represented her at events both in the UK and around the world. In King Charles's reign, she has shown the same loyalty. During the king's early reign, Alexandra, now age 88, was by the throne at the coronation ceremony. She maintains her patronage of charities and hospitals. For example, she is still joint president of Cancer Research UK and is remembered for decades of compassionate service. She has no official office now beyond continuing as a working member of the royal family. Over 9 decades, Princess Alexandra's life has seen the full sweep of modern British royal history. From a wartime childhood shadowed by her father's death, to being one of Queen Elizabeth II's dearest cousins, to raising a family and dedicating herself to countless causes, her story is one of duty balanced with personal strength. Her private choices, attending a public school, marrying for love, declining grand titles, and facing family tragedies head-on, have all shaped a public image of grace under pressure. Throughout it all, she has remained gracious and earnest, a figure of continuity from the days of King George VI to the reign of King Charles III. As one biographer notes, Princess Alexandra's life is a testament to service. She was born into royalty, but forged her own path through compassion and devotion.